Yeah, so
Is
it
Michelle
says
not here?
Michelle's not going to be here tonight. She's away.
Okay.
Hey guys,
Says,
can you guys still see me?
yeah,
Yes.
Jimmy.
Okay. Thanks, Amanda.
All right, he just texted me. Am I missing something? So Amanda, if you could reach out to him, I'm gonna get going on this meeting. Because we do have a very, very, very busy agenda, and I want to be very cognizant of that in people's time. But I will definitely stop as needed. But I'm gonna get going if that's okay with everyone. So at this time, in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, the Tuesday, June 17, 2025, 6:30 p.m. public meeting of the Wrentham Select Board shall be conducted remotely. The public is invited to join via Zoom. The instructions to join are on the website. As a preliminary matter, this is Select Board Chair Chris Gallo. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the call on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Selectman Jim Anderson.
Anderson here.
Selectman Bill Harrington.
Harrington here.
And Chris Gallo here. Michelle Rouse absent. Roy Lamoth.
Here.
There he is.
Yep.
Handsome. Good to see you. Selectman Lamoth is here. Okay. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Town Manager Mike King.
Present.
Executive Assistant Amanda Vassapolo.
Present.
And anyone else who's with us. I know we have a lot of distinguished guests, members of other boards and committees. I don't want to start naming people because I'm going to forget someone. So just know that you're all welcome. And it's great to see everyone here. As I mentioned before, we have a very active agenda tonight. We have a lot going on. And I want to be, cognizant of that and respectful of people's time. So we're going to get going. And I hope that the pace of the meeting is going to be okay for everyone. I will say that when we get to the appointments, I am going to be stopping and asking Mike King, our town manager, to make sure that I have the most up-to-date information, because as we're talking, I have emails coming in about some of the stuff on the agenda. So I ask for your grace and forgiveness up front. So at this time, I'm going to ask, we're going to go to tab 1, and I'm going to ask Selectman Bill Harrington to read the announcements.
Yes, Mr. Chair. We are seeking an interested resident to serve as Wrentham representative on the Tri-County School Committee. This is a 3-year term starting July 1st, 2025. The representative is appointed at public meeting by the town moderator, select board chair, and Wrentham Elementary School Committee chair. Submit a volunteer application via the town website. Taunton Street, Plainville paving starting June 17th. The town of Plainville's Public Works Department will be performing road construction on Taunton Street from Route 1 southbound off-ramp to the Wrentham town line. Over the course of 3 days, work June 17th, Monday the 23rd, Tuesday the 24th. Pavement markings will be installed during the week of June 30th. Delays should be expected, and vehicles are encouraged to seek alternate routes to avoid the area. This project schedule is weather dependent. In the event of delays or changes, we will update this posting. Electrical upgrades are scheduled for this week on the town common. Some areas may be inaccessible during this time. The project is anticipated to be completed by 6/20. Discover the best of summer with Wrentham Recreation. See the website for available programs, camps, and clinics. Don't forget concerts on the common every Sunday night starting at 6. Be sure to check out the latest edition of In-Town News, now available on the town website. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Selectman Harrington. Let's go right over to tab number 2, approval of minutes. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the June 3rd, 2025 open session meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. And you're going to have to remind me that we're 4 tonight. So I might say 5 just out of habit. So just so you guys and girls know. Let's go to tab number 3. Okay, tab number 3. We gotta talk about an update on the MBTA communities, right? So at this point, anyone on this call should know that we got a ruling, unfavorable ruling, or we'll talk to Jay Tellerman in a second about that, if it's unfavorable or not, from Judge Gilday on our legal challenge to the on the unfunded mandate determination by the state auditor relating to our MBTA community zoning bylaw. Now the board is going to be tasked with determining next steps. So obviously we thought it'd be prudent to have Attorney Talman, who represented the town, on this call with us. Attorney Talman is going to lead us through his summary of the verdict and what it means for Wrentham in our next steps. We could talk about things like, do we appeal? I understand there's at least one town that's going to go that route. Do we comply? And if we comply, is there a rush to compliance, or do we think that the state's going to work with us and give us time to comply so that we can, properly give notice, get a town meeting organized, and then not only just that, but then we want to obviously, advertise it so that the townspeople can know what's going on and what a yes vote means, what a no vote means, et cetera, et cetera. So at this point, I'd like to welcome our attorney, Jay Tellerman, to the meeting. Jay, the floor is yours. Please start by giving us an update, and then if you could walk us through what an appeal process looks like, and what a compliance process might look like. Because I'm already hearing things, Jay. Just so you know, I'm already hearing things like, okay, it got voted down. We need to call it emergency town meeting. We need to have it immediately. We need to do it by the July 14th deadline, or the state's gonna impose a special master on us, which means we lose all control and the sky is falling. So I want to just talk through that to see if that's accurate, or if you see it a different way. So at this time, I welcome you to the meeting, sir, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you to the board. Thank you, Mike. I'll give a short summary of where we are and what's happened in the litigation, where it could go, what enforcement could look like, and what our path forward would be, either for an appeal or for compliance. I'm not going to get into litigation strategy that hasn't been resolved yet before the board. I'm happy to answer questions very generally, but my focus is going to be on those generalities and not on specific strategy that the board has spoken about or may speak about. But let me start by quick recap. So our case and the cases of 4 other towns that I represented and a number of other towns represented by other attorneys was primarily about the unfunded mandate issue. And what our complaint asked for was an injunction, which is authorized by the unfunded mandate statute, seeking relief from the MBTA Zoning Act, Section 3A of Chapter 40A, until such time as the mandate is funded. And it was the auditor herself, through the Division of Local Mandates, that determined that there was a mandate and that it was unfunded. So we had a number of hearings, multiple efforts at briefing on behalf of Wrentham and my other client towns. We had good days before the court. We made our points, I thought, persuasively. I thought our briefs really hammered the points home. I think the judge, who I know a bit and is a former municipal attorney himself, listened carefully. I thought that ultimately it was going to be a close call, but I also knew that ultimately the judge would be faced with a difficult decision, because if he gave an injunction in our favor and let these cases proceed, he would essentially be stopping the entire statute in its tracks. So it was it certainly weighed heavily on his shoulders, no doubt, and it took him quite a long time to come to a decision. And it wasn't, the decision in the terms of timing wasn't particularly conducive to what we have before us now, but we're going to get into that in a second. Ultimately, as it applies to Wrentham, because Rentham's primary and almost singular issue in the case was the unfunded mandate issue. Ultimately, as it applies to Wrentham, the judge found that there could be no unfunded mandate. And his ruling was based on a number of factors. But I think the key factor that I want to put out there today, and there are other nuances that in an appeal we'd probably chase down, but the key factor that the judge found was that the mandate wasn't a mandate to do anything more than to adopt the zoning. Now, our argument was that was myopic and naive, because if we adopt zoning, people are going to build, especially if it's by right zoning. And we indicated that there was a number of initiatives by the Commonwealth already that support the fact that they have already tied construction to the mandate to adopt the zoning. The judge was unswayed by those arguments and ultimately concluded that the only mandate that existed was to go to town meeting and pass zoning, and everything else was too speculative to determine whether or not there could ever be a concrete dollar amount attached to it. That was the most important part of his decision and the biggest takeaway, and the main issue that we would have to attack head on if we appealed on that. So disappointing. I understand his logic in it. It was essentially the argument, one of the main arguments that the Commonwealth made, although the judge actually made the argument more artfully, I think, than the Attorney General's office did. So that's where we are. We think we have good counter arguments to it, but that's what we could discuss in terms of an appeal and how that goes. So if we chose to appeal, what does that look like? We file a notice of appeal. It's simple. It's 1 page. And that's the start of the appellate process. From there, the Superior Court would assemble all of the documents and ship them up to the appeals court. In the meantime, we would be starting, if we appealed, we would be starting to submit the necessary motions and other documents and notices to the trial court and the appeals court to get this case going. One of those motions would be, hey, hold the status quo in place. Don't subject us to this July 14th deadline until such time as the appeal comes around. That was going to be a somewhat difficult motion for the judge to embrace based upon what he's already decided, but we have a good faith basis to pursue something like that. One of our other client towns has appealed. We're already in the process of preparing motions in that regard. If the appeal keeps going and goes to the appeals court, it's likely, given what happened with the Milton case, that it'll bypass the next level of appeal and will get plucked by the Supreme Judicial Court because it's of such importance. There would then be briefing, about a month and a half for us to prepare briefs, and then another month for the Commonwealth to give a reply brief, and then we would get a rebuttal brief, and then there would be an oral argument some months later, and we'd participate in that, and then whatever happens there. In the Milton case, it took 4 or 5 months for them to make a decision. Here, I would expect something around the same time frame. So that's what the process would be for appeal, if we were going the appellate route here. On the compliance side, there's a number of factors that come into play. Obviously, we have a July 14th deadline. I've contacted the Attorney General's office, and I've suggested that even if we said today that we wanted to comply or wanted to move this into a compliance direction because of whatever reason, then it would take some time. And the thought that we could get this all squared away by a July 14th deadline is far-fetched at best, but moreover, it's a recipe for failure. We have to hold hearings. The planning board has an awesome responsibility in front of it to make sure that the bylaw is in shape. We have to work with the state to make sure that it meets their compliance guidelines. And then, as you suggested, Chris, we've got to do a public relations campaign here. If we're going to go through this exercise, it's not going to be just, hey, folks, here it is. This is what we got. It's important for the planning board and the select board and whoever else to engage with the public so that they understand what this may look like and the benefits and the possible risks of development in the particular zones that we're proposing, what that would look like for you as a citizen, what impacts it would have to public safety, public education, roads, wetlands, environmental, all those other things. That takes time. And I would hope that the Commonwealth would be somewhat sensitive to that notion. They've suggested they want to work with us closely, but they've made no commitments yet because they don't know if we're going to appeal or not. I have a decent relationship with them. While we argued bitterly against the Attorney General's office, there was no foul words and the relationship remained intact in terms of lawyer to lawyer, maintaining an open door to have these kinds of discussions. If in fact the Attorney General says you're taking too long, or we'll only give you to, August 1st, September 1st, whatever it is, then, and the town balks at that and says, no, we're not ready, we'll put this on in the fall, that's when we'll be ready. Or if the town decides we're not going to put it on at all, which is also a legitimate option that some towns may pursue, then it would be up to the Commonwealth to enforce. And frankly, all this talk of the fact that they'll get a special master appointed is just conjecture. There's no basis in fact to support the notion that any court is going to support that or not support it. That was what they suggested that they would do in Milton. And that issue was before the Supreme Judicial Court, but the Supreme Judicial Court declined to weigh in on that because they didn't have to, because they just ruled that it was a mandate and sent it back down to Milton to do something about it. So what the Commonwealth may do to try and compel a town to adopt zoning is a bit of a mystery, in that there's only one way to adopt zoning in the Commonwealth, and that is for a town, not a city, but for a town to have it approved at town meeting. And I'm not sure there's a way for the Commonwealth, I certainly haven't seen it yet, for them to compel a town meeting to act in any specific way. Now, maybe they're going to try something else to do that, but as of right now, their strategies along these lines are murky at best. That doesn't mean that they wouldn't try something aggressive and creative. Their history throughout the 3A zoning has been to use aggression as a way to get towns to comply. And they've done it so far fairly effectively, with the exception of the towns that have chosen to protest a little bit by slowing things down, getting a more sense of the unfunded mandate issue, addressing some other issues. So that's a chapter that's still out there in front of us. Assuming that we can get them to be a little reasonable, then I would hope that we would work with them closely to have a town meeting, preferably after Labor Day, so that we can ensure that we would have good attendance. Town meetings in the summer have a poor track record of attendance anywhere, and you're not getting an awesome cross-section. And I would hope that the Commonwealth would take notice of that fact and give us a little bit of time to work this out. I don't have any hard answers and can't predict what they may do, however. So I think our purpose and yours as a select board is to prepare for every eventuality. But do I think that the town has to schedule a special town meeting for the middle of July? I don't think you have to. I think we can manage our risk accordingly. And if it appears that we're going to have to schedule a special meeting, we could do it at some point after that. Might it be later in the summer, early in the fall? I don't know. But I don't think we have to rush to judgment here, because I think a rush to judgment, even if we're interested in passing a zoning bylaw, is a rush to failure in that regard.
Well, I would just add to that point, Jay, based on the fact that the townspeople overwhelmingly voted it down, that would support your line of reasoning that you've brought forward. So if we were going to suggest that now the townspeople shouldn't, should actually support this because of XYZ 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to need the appropriate amount of time to get that message across, and why things have changed, how they've changed, what grants could be affected, et cetera, et cetera. So before I open it up, if that concludes your update.
Yeah, that's my update for now, and I'm happy. I know that there was a lot in a pretty short amount of time, so I'm happy to add clarifying remarks or answer questions as the board sees fit.
So before I open it up to the rest of the board, I just want to ask you the $1 million question here, Jay. So, if we decide to appeal, when do we have to appeal by? And how much is it going to cost the taxpayers in rough dollars versus how much has it already costed the taxpayers to get to the point that we're at now? Those are the two biggest questions that I hear when I'm
Sure. So we have 30 days from the entry of the judgment, which was a couple weeks ago, as you know. So we have a little bit of time, but not much left to file a notice of appeal. Dollars and cents, it's difficult to predict in any, it's hard to pin down a lawyer on these generally, but appeals are a little less rigorous when it comes to dollars and cents because there's no trial. The single most expensive form of litigation is when you're preparing and doing work towards a trial because you're starting to get ready to call witnesses and script testimony and get your exhibit books lined up. An appeal is just briefs and arguments. Now, this would be an appeal likely before the Supreme Judicial Court. So we take those very seriously and we know we leave no stone unturned, but it is still, little less expensive than if we had to go to a trial. And so an appeal, depending upon how many wrenches get thrown into things, could be in that 10, 15, 20, $1,000 range, depending, could be a little more, could be a little less. It could depend on whether or not we are sharing resources as we did previously in the Superior Court with other towns. Now, some of those other towns have different issues, like Middleton, for example, which filed an appeal, has an additional issue that they'll be focusing on. But there'd be some synergy there for sure, just as there was in the trial court already, and we were able to hold down expenses quite a bit there because we weren't going it alone. We had some support, and we weren't duplicating work in a lot of these instances. Everyone was rowing in the same direction, so we were able to capture some economy there. And I think Mike could give you actual numbers, but I don't think we came even close to what some of our original thoughts were because we were able to spread those costs around to 5 different towns, all of whom were like-minded.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And the other thing, well, Mike, if you are going to comment on that, Town Manager Mike King, I do also want to set an expectation to my fellow board members to make sure that everyone's on the same page. That 30-day appeal time frame is up, if my math is correct, July 6th. And our next meeting is not till July 8th. So we would have to make some kind of a decision tonight, whether we would choose to appeal, not appeal, or, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, we could in fact not make a decision tonight, but then we would have to call an additional select board meeting before that July 8th deadline to vote as a board whether we should appeal or not. Can you just unpack that quickly?
Yes, of course. So to start with the legal bills and what the town spent thus far. Initially, the town spent approximately $13,000 on this litigation. In terms of planning, if the town, so the next select board meeting is July 8th. That would be outside the 30-day appeal timeline, which would mean, to your point, Chairman Gallo, that the board would need to call a special town meeting between now and then in order to vote to proceed with that appeal.
Would that be a special town meeting or a select board meeting, Mike?
So you would call an off-schedule select board meeting.
Yep.
For the appeal process. again, we'd also, if you wanted to go the route of a special town meeting, that would be another meeting as well. And I can talk about that process separately, or I could talk about it now, whatever your preference is.
Just want to clarify. If we didn't choose tonight, if we didn't decide tonight whether we want to do appeal or not, we would have to make that decision by July 6th. Because our next meeting's not until July 8th, we would only have to call an additional select board meeting to decide if we wanted to appeal. So we don't have to worry about, I don't want to confuse people with special town meeting yet. I'm just trying to ask, what would that look like if we didn't decide tonight on the appeal process? I think you answered the question. I just want to take out the special town meeting comment, if I'm right.
Yep, you are correct. There would have to be a select board meeting call that is not on the schedule as of currently.
Okay, and then from and if I'm hearing you correctly, we spent approximately $13,000 so far in this litigation. And to
Yes.
Attorney Tallerman's point, we could expect something similar if we went the appellate process. Fair statements? Yes?
Yeah, I mean, again, some variability there, you never
Right.
know, but yeah.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the select board members, and I'm going to start with Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jay, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. Two quick questions. One, of all the towns that you represent, do you know any of those towns or how many of those towns are planning on appealing?
So Middleton, we filed an appeal on behalf of Middleton today. Middleton has two issues in there, actually kind of three in their appeal: unfunded mandate and two other issues regarding their status as an adjacent community. That was filed today. Wrentham, another of my clients, has passed their zoning and they are not appealing. Holden is unlikely to appeal. They have informed me this week. I am meeting with Hanson next week and they'll make their decision then.
Okay. And then my second question is this, Jay, is that if we decide to appeal, you said it most likely will be taken up by the state Supreme Court. Knowing the makeup of the state Supreme Court, what do you think the odds are?
Those are tough questions, Jim. You know, obviously, I think we can see a little bit of a track record with this Supreme Judicial Court because of the work they did in and around the Milton case. So if I was a betting person, and I'm most certainly not, I think that I would be likely inclined to believe that they would continue to support housing initiatives, and in particular this housing initiative. That said, I know a lot of these justices. I've appeared before them for years. They're a thoughtful, thorough, and very smart bunch. I think we have some really smart arguments if we have to appeal. You know, chances of success in overturning a trial court judge, they're hard. Those are not super high chances of success.
Right.
I think I'm not going to put a number on it, but I think people should be prepared that just because I have what I think is a really awesome argument doesn't necessarily mean that we're beyond that 50% chance of success. It's hard to reverse a trial court judge in this manner. Really tough sledding, even if you have a great argument. And I think we do have great arguments.
Okay, Jay, thank you. Thank you for your time.
And I also think it should be noted that, I think it's, maybe this is speculation on my part, Attorney Tellerman, but, I find it hard to believe that there wasn't some heavy pressure on this Judge Gilday, as well as the SJC from our governor and attorney general. I believe aren't some of these judges appointed by, if not all of them, appointed by?
Yeah. So, and here's what I would say about that, Chris, is my guess is that any pressure that the judge felt was probably pressure he put on himself. And I mentioned that a little bit briefly. I would find it shocking and really disappointing if there was any overt pressure, But I'm sure that the judge was thinking in the back of his mind that the consequence of granting an injunction in our favor would be to essentially unravel this entire zoning process, because other towns would have undone their zoning and to take advantage of the notion of the unfunded mandate. My guess is any pressure that he felt was probably self-imposed, but I'm guessing he did put some of that pressure on himself. I know him pretty well. I think he's a good and honest guy. I disagree with some of his reasoning here, vociferously, but I don't fault him in terms of the way he crafted his decision. I just happen to disagree with it.
Understood. Selectman Harrington?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, but I mean, Jay, great job in your preparation from our last meeting and tonight. We appreciate obviously what you do. Couple of the questions that I had concerns with were just answered. And the only other thing is, if in fact we were to decide to move forward, we would have to have that special meeting giving you enough time to prep your letter. So if we needed to meet by the, what did you say, the 8th, we need to bump it forward to give you enough time to prep your appeal.
Yeah, so so to be clear, Bill, for me to do a notice of appeal takes about 10 minutes because it's a single page of paper. It's the stuff after that that gets time consuming. So even if I didn't know, I take Chris at his word that it's July 6th. Even if I didn't know until July 3rd or even the 5th that you were going to appeal, I could still get the appeal in. Everything is electronic filing now. So I'm not worried about getting an appeal initiated. That said, you got to still do the meeting and you still got to make that decision, whether it's tonight or in a week or whatever it is. And it's obviously a daunting decision. This board's been really thorough and careful about all of this stuff. So I imagine there's a heavy weight on your shoulders.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Jay.
And for the record, please don't take me at my word, because now that I'm looking at a calendar, I see that the 6th is a Sunday. I was just relaying the information that I had. So if that's not accurate, I apologize in advance. Mike King, what is the actual date? Do you have it in front of you? And are we given, if the 6th falls on a Sunday, are we given till the 7th, the Monday, or?
So you did push it out 30 days, Selectman Gallo. I would defer to Attorney Tallerman of if it lands on a Sunday, does it push it out to the Monday or is it Friday hold?
Jay, you're on mute.
It pushes it out to the Monday.
Okay. Thank you. And Selectman Lamoff, floor is yours.
Jay, great job. With your comment about the state being aggressive, potentially being aggressive, should we vote? My gut's telling me, should we vote anytime in the next month or two without educating our constituents? They could vote the same way they did before. And so what would that aggressiveness potentially be should the voters vote this down a second time?
So again, I think that there's a few things to unpack there. And I think the voters, in addition to actually taking a good critical look at what you'd put before them, because I know that Mr. Maloney and the rest of the planning board are working hard on this. There's the other ramifications of failure, which is loss of grant funding. And it's not just the state yelling at you and trying to get an injunction. There are real financial consequences for the town that you'd put into that. So if we brought it back and despite best efforts by everyone, we still didn't pass it, then obviously we'd lose all the grants that we may want to seek until we bring it under compliance. And we'd have a showdown with the Commonwealth as to exactly how they would try and cram it down our throat and create a bylaw where there's no process to create a bylaw. And that we've been thinking about that quite a bit in my office because there's still some of our towns that haven't even thought about what their town meeting action is going to be, because there's another class of towns, the small adjacent communities that have until December. So there's a lot of discussion as to what that looks like. And I'm not exactly sure at the end of the day what it looks like, but I can promise you that if the state comes after us with trying to enjoin us or get us to do something, they're going to come at us with, guns a-blazing. Their calling card in this has been aggression. So
So,
think-
so preliminarily, I was under the impression that they were very specific grants and that the amount of them didn't total nearly as much as the impact might be to our town.
yeah, and that's a really good question. What it is, there is a specific list of grants that you're categorically deprived of, and that exists. The Commonwealth has also stated that we would be in jeopardy of losing all discretionary grants. Not so much because it would be a categorical disqualification, but because most grants have a scoring system, and that they would impose within the scoring system a big checkbox as to whether or not you've passed 3A or not. And so we don't know yet what that means, but I take the Healy administration at its word that when they say all discretionary grants are in jeopardy, they mean it. So that could mean anything where they have a choice of whether or not to grant it, a little grant or a really big one.
Yeah, appreciate that. That's the word and the education we need to get out there. Thank you.
And Roy, that's the problem. Sorry, Selectman Lamont, that's the problem that this board has had with the administration and the situation was when this initially rolled out, it was a very finite group of grants that you wouldn't qualify for if you didn't comply. And then they've used the stick mentality of, well, guess what? Now we're changing the envelope, we're changing the needle, we're moving the goalposts. And that's been a big criticism from this board and our taxpayers, our townspeople, that, they just keep changing the game to benefit their ultimate goal. So it's a great question. Let's move, if the board is done with preliminary questions, let's move and discuss if we need to. Mike King, do we need to discuss the actual town meeting process, or did we already cover that? If we do need to call a special town meeting at some point between now and the next 6 months, do we need to talk through that, or did we already kind of handle that?
Well, I can just go over generally the timeline, because there at the last select board meeting on June 3rd, there was a public comment question on the timeline for calling a special town meeting warrant.
Okay.
So just to go over at a high level, there is a charter requirement that a warrant be posted for 14 days before the special town meeting date. And then additionally, the town charter also requires that any article petitions received 20 days in advance are to be placed on the warrant. So that's initially a solid 3 weeks. However, to ensure the select board has adequate time to open and close the warrant at a posted meeting, and then of course to review and approve a warrant at a subsequent posted meeting, you would really need a minimum of 4 weeks to properly call and post a special town meeting, which would be tight. That would be a very tight timeline. However, as acknowledged tonight earlier, it is also recommended that additional time be allotted for articles such as MBTA community zoning in order to allow for community outreach in advance of a special town meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. King. Now, we can't call a special town meeting without communication with our esteemed planning board. And we're very fortunate to have a planning board that has been working hand in hand with our select board. We have Chairman Tom Maloney on with us this evening. And, before Tom Maloney, the chairman was Mike McKnight. Mike McKnight worked very closely with our board, to figure out the zoning that would provide the least negative impacts should we have to zone it. Those conversations have been, continued with the new board and the new chairman, Tom Maloney. And he was invited here this evening, and thank you so much for coming, just to give us a quick update to the board on what that process looks like from his perspective, and any changes that have been made to the zoning that they would bring forward should a special town meeting is called. So, Mr. Maloney, Chairman Maloney, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Please give
Very
us an update from your perspective.
Will do. Tom Maloney, Chairman of the Wrentham Planning Board. I'm also happy to be joined by members Justin Schlesinger and Chuck Woodhams here. At our meeting on June 4th, the Planning Board approved a revised MBTA Communities bylaw for the purpose of recommending to any future town meeting where a warrant is put, where an article is put on the warrant for this purpose. So I think Town Planner Rachel Benson forwarded to you a little 4-page presentation about the update. Essentially, the bylaw is very close to the one that we submitted to town meeting back in December. The biggest difference is one change in the sub-district. We had one site called Ledgeview, which finished sort of a close third in our analysis back in the fall. In light of some additional information and input from residents of the town, we have leapfrogged Ledgeview over the East Street, so-called sub-district, so that the two sub-districts we include in our approved and recommended bylaw are Ledgeview and Elysium Street. Other than that, the language is pretty much the same. A slight shift in the density, which I can go over if you wish. The important thing is, though, to answer something Mr. Talman brought up earlier, and I'm very glad that he's here to straighten me out if I get anything wrong. Because we approved this, we did have a public meeting, by the way. It lasted about 90 days. We closed that public hearing prior to voting. And the proposed bylaw is, I guess the word would be, valid for 6 months from the date of approval. So at any town meeting between now and early December, we could bring forward that proposed bylaw without having to hold any more public hearings on. Of course, if the board want, I mean, we would be willing to do that, and if Attorney Talman says we should, then we will. But as it stands now, we have the proposed bylaw. You have it. You have the justification for it. It is valid for 6 months, and we're ready to ride at the sound of the trumpets. Thank you.
Attorney Talman, are you comfortable with the statement made by Mr. Maloney, Chairman Maloney? You're on mute.
And yeah, and we're prepared to work with Tom and his board and with Rachel, just as we did in the prior iterations, to make sure this is works out. It's my understanding that, and we've done a little bit of advanced research on some of this. It's my understanding that Ms. Benson has submitted this, at least this draft, to the state for a compliance check. That's a key step. And if they have issues with it, then we'll have to recalibrate a little bit. But I think I give Tom and his board a lot of credit for, putting their, nose to the grindstone and just cranking out some really good work here.
I would concur. And Mr. Maloney, before I open it up to the board, can you just give us a quick summary of why Ledgeview was chosen over East Street, if you don't mind, for people that might not be as familiar?
Well, we thought that both were good sites, and we had a subcommittee last fall that was led by Mr. Woodhams in conjunction with 2 members who are not on the board anymore. They did a really good job. They spent 6 to 7 months on the whole thing, and East Street kind of graded out a little higher than Ledgeview. But we have learned in the meantime, though, there were some concerns about Ledgeview having to do with the loss of credit for the subsidized housing inventory if a creative property owner sought to reclassify the property from the 40B designation to MBTA communities, and thereby have the opportunity to dispense with, or reduce rather, the affordability requirement. So there was just a little bit of a concern, how does this affect our SHI? Because Ledgeview comprises about 20% of our total SHI inventory, I believe. So it's quite it might be, it's more than that, but it's quite a big part of our subsidized housing inventory. If we ever lost credit for Ledgeview, we would be wide open for a 40B challenge.
So the fact of the matter is that we're not losing credit for the proposing Ledgeview. We don't lose credit, and therefore it becomes a very viable option as an MBTA zoning candidate.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you for the work. I'm going to open it up to the other board members quickly to see if anyone else has any additional comments, starting with Selectman Jim Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom, I just want to say, you did a good job explaining it, so I've got no further questions.
Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks to the, planning board, great work. I had gone through it previously before the meeting, and I like the changes. Thank you.
Great. Selectman Lamothe.
Hi, Tom, great job. I see the comment here that basically says existing use is less than 10 years old, thus unlikely to be redeveloped. Could you explain that?
Well, you're talking about Ledgeview, right, Roy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so down at Ledgeview, you have a collection of apartments totaling 220 units, which are about 10 years old. Maybe Mr. King can confirm. And there's also beside it in the same district, a All-America memory care facility. So in order to, you could, in the long run, if this is part of if this sub-district comes to be, you could end up with, I think it was about 180 additional units, about 200 additional units someday in that district if somebody wanted to knock down something else and build apartments. So, but the thinking is that, I mean, certainly the buildings that are down there are not superannuated. They, particularly in the case of the memory care unit, but both sites serve urgent needs for the town and the region at the moment. So we think that the prospect of seeing either one of those properties dramatically changed is quite small.
Okay, understood. So it isn't like there's enough open space there for somebody to come in and start building.
No.
Yep, got it. Understood. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think that's going to wrap up our MBTA communities update. I believe we do have executive session later on with Attorney Tommelman. So we'll see you later. But thank you, planning board members, Chuck Woodhams, Justin Schlesinger, Tom Maloney for being on with us. And we have a whole lot of business to take care of. So we're going to shift gears if that's okay with everyone.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for your time. I would just very quickly like to thank Rachel Benson for all her work on this as well.
And I would also like to thank Rachel for all of her work on this. So thank you. All right, let's
you.
go to tab 4, which is an appointment of Andrea Murphy to the Community Preservation Commission as a Housing Authority representative. In our packet, we have meeting minutes from the Wrentham Housing Authority appointing Miss Murphy. So she doesn't need to be here for this. I know she was going to, but she had a prior commitment. So at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to appoint Andrea Murphy to the Community Preservation Committee for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? None. Selectman Anderson.
Yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Okay. Next, we'll go to tab 5. We have a resignation acceptance of Jane D'Amico from the Community Preservation Commission as a resident at large. We have a letter of resignation from Jane D'Amico. I'm going to ask Selectman Harrington to read it into the record, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Dear Select Board of Selectmen, I received the information that in the best interest of the town bylaws, I would no longer serve as a resident at large member of the Community Preservation Committee, since I serve on committees that have representation. In light of that information, I've been appointed by Open Space Committee to serve as their representative on CPC. Please accept this letter as my formal resignation as the at-large member of CPC. Sincerely, Jane D'Amico.
Okay, so as we said, we're gonna accept the resignation and then we're gonna appoint her in a minute, hopefully. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to accept with regrets the resignation of Jane D'Amico from the Community Preservation Commission as resident at large.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Yes, with regrets.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth with regrets.
Gallo, yes, with regrets, motion carries 4-0. But don't be too sad because let's go to tab number 6, I'm sorry. And now we are gonna appoint potentially Jane D'Amico to the Community Preservation Commission as Open Space Committee representative. We have a letter of recommendation from Alan Selling, the chair of the Open Space Committee, in our packet. Selectman Harrington, do you mind reading that into the record?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So dated June 10th, read Jane D'Amico, Open Space Representative to the CPC Committee, dear Wrentham Select Board and CPC Committee. I and the members of the Wrentham Open Space Committee wish to inform you that we have chosen Miss Jane D'Amico to take over the remaining term vacated by Mary Hepburn as the Open Space Committee representative to the Community Preservation Committee effective immediately, and request her to be appointed to this office. Jane is a longtime member of Open Space Committee and has previously served on CPC as a citizen representative and as the Open Space representative. I and the committee would like to acknowledge the great effort and work that Mary Hepburn, our prior CPC representative, provided the town of Wrentham and Open Space Committee. Thank you, Mary. For the committee, Alan Selling, Chair, Wrentham Open Space Committee, phone number and email address.
Thank you for that, and we also appreciate the hard work of Mary Hepburn. This committee, our board does as well. So at this time, and there was a slight error on the expiration date in the packet, so I'm going to correct it right now in the motion. So the chair would entertain a motion to appoint Jane D'Amico to the Community Preservation Committee as the Open Space representative for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30, 2027.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. Okay, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to ask for everyone's patience and grace as we got to do a lot of clicking back and forth with a lot of these tabs. And I'm going to make probably 300 mistakes. So I apologize in advance, but ask for, again, grace and everyone just to give us a little patience here. This is definitely one of my weakest attributes going through these type of back and forth. So I'm going to do the best I can. We're going to start out. We're going to get into the interviews and appointments and reappointments. And the first one that we have is the Commission on Disability. Okay. And so it's my understanding, I'm gonna ask Mike King to unmute. And Mike, if I say something out of school, I'd like you to correct me immediately with, incumbents, number of people that are applying versus seats, et cetera, et cetera. It's my understanding that on Commission on Disability, we have a total number of appointments of 4, and we only have one applicant. That's Jane O'Friel. And it looks like we had a couple of existing members that did not submit their reappointment slips. So do we have Jane with us?
Yes.
Hi, Jane. How are you this evening?
Good.
Welcome to our meeting, and thank you so much for applying and putting yourself out there. I'm gonna take Selectman Anderson's job and ask you just to give us a quick little summary about yourself and why you're going for this position.
Okay. Well, first off, I have a son with a developmental disability. He's 29 years old. And my background is nursing. I have a bachelor's degree from Boston College, a master's from Boston College, a DNP from, which is Doctor of Nursing Practice from Sacred Heart University. And I've been on other committees that are connected with disabilities. Currently, I'm on the Citizens Advisory Board for the South Valley of DDS, and I am also on the Open Sky Family Support Center Advisory Board. In the past, when I lived in the Connecticut area, I was on the Disability Network of Eastern Connecticut, which is an independent living center type operation. Uncas Health District, the Commission for Persons with Disabilities for the City of Norwich, and also was a chairperson of a private school program for a special needs initiative in the town of Groton, Connecticut, called Risen. So with all of that, I moved into Wrentham about a year ago. And of course, I was interested when I first came back into Massachusetts, because I was Massachusetts born and raised, of continuing my work with individuals with disabilities or advocating for them in whatever way that was appropriate. I enjoyed my time on the commission in Norwich, Connecticut. It was really great. And we were able to accomplish some small things that were related to whatever the goals were of the city at the time. And so I looked up, your Commission on Disability, and I took a look at the roles and responsibilities, and they look very much like what I've typically seen in a commission of this sort. So I thought I would apply and try to see if I could be useful to the town in some way.
Thank you so much. I just want to back up and say welcome. You're a year young resident, so welcome to Wrentham. It's great to have you here, and respect the fact that you're rolling your sleeves up with this very impressive resume, professional resume, and all these boards and committees and commissions that you've already sat on. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for that introduction. Welcome to Wrentham. Thank you for putting yourself out there. And I'd like to turn it over to the rest of the board members, see if anyone has any additional questions for you. And I'm going to start with Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, Jay, I just want to thank you for your willingness to serve the community. And I think your resume looks very well, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Selectman couldn't tell you better. I greatly appreciate you putting out there, and look forward to working with you and meeting you in person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm off.
Jade, I love your background, and coming from the town of Norwich, Connecticut myself, I
Oh,
know where you've been, and
Yeah.
I want to welcome you to Wrentham and to this role in our town. Thank you.
And Jane, I just want to say we won't hold that against you that Selectman Lamoth came from the same town as you. I'm sure you're a wonderful, wonderful woman.
Well, don't forget, I'm Massachusetts born and raised.
That's true. All right, so without any further ado, Chair will entertain a motion to appoint Jane, and I apologize if I said this wrong, O'Friel to the
Friel, yeah.
O'Friel, sorry, to
Yeah.
the Commission on Disability for a term effective immediately and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. And what do we do about Mike? Do they have to do any for appointments? Do we do any swearing in or any of that?
Everyone will have to be sworn in.
Okay, so this is a blanket statement that anyone who gets appointed this evening will have to be sworn in with the town clerk's office before you can attend one of the meetings. Correct, Mike?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, let's move forward. Great job. Congratulations, Jane.
Thank you.
As we come down, the next one on my list looks like community preservation. It looks like we have a total number of appointment seats is 2. We have one incumbent, Robin Cuddy, who's our citizen at large and an incumbent. And it looks like we have 3 applicants, Rachel Hill, Steve Saviontek, sorry, Steve, if I screwed that up, and then Jeff Hall. I will say to the board, though, I noticed that Mr. Hall is on the call with us now, and not only did Mr. Hall apply for this position, he also applied for the Open Space Commission, and it looks like he would be the only person who would be applying for that position. Is that correct, Mr. King?
That is correct. Mr. Hall is the only applicant for open space.
All right, so I think the board needs to keep that in mind as we're making the decision for the community
Excuse me.
preservation. Hello?
Excuse me, this is Jenny Wehoff at 550 Madison Street. I did apply for the Open Space Committee last week and I got a form back in my email, but I never heard anything from anyone about it. And I called today asking about it and didn't get a message back. So just want to throw out there, I did apply and I don't know anything else.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I'm unfortunately not going to be able to act upon that right now, Jenny.
Okay.
I will say thank you so much. The good news is we'll get to the bottom of any communication issues. And the good news is there's a whole bunch of other great boards and committees and commissions that do need people. So, if you'd be interested in serving in another facet, you can reach out to Town Manager Mike King, and I'm sure he directly will work with you, as well as Amanda Vazzapolo, our executive assistant.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, I could just also reply that Jenny, you have an email waiting for you. Amanda did respond to you recently that we can fit you in on the July 8th select board meeting. If you are interested, because as the chairman did indicate, there is another open space seat. So we
Okay.
can get that corrected.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So,
Sorry for interrupting.
no, that's okay,
No worries.
Jenny. Great to have you. Bill's okay with it. All right, let's keep it moving here. So, is Robin Cuddy here? Being the incumbent, I like to give the incumbent first opportunity to speak. Is Robin here? So I'm going to take that as a no. But Mike,
Mr. Chair, can I step in for 1 sec, please?
please.
Robin is on vacation.
Oh,
He's not back until tomorrow. Her paperwork has been submitted to Amanda, and I know firsthand that she is interested in being reappointed, and she is currently our chairperson on CPC.
yeah.
But that's all.
Mike King, can you confirm that we did receive her paper back indicating that she wanted to be reappointed?
We did. We have confirmed that she is electing to be reappointed if the board would choose to do so.
Okay, so at this point, it seems like we do have a very easy option here of reappointing Robin and then potentially appointing Rachel and Steve, if Jeff Hall would be okay with us having him serve on the Open Space Committee, but we will go ahead and interview all three candidates if they're here. Is Rachel Hill with us this evening? If you are, please quickly unmute and announce.
Sorry, I'm here.
That's okay, Rachel. How are you this evening?
I'm very well, thank you.
So I'd first like to say thank you so much for putting yourself out there. Thank you for living in Wrentham for 38 years. Thank you for looks like a very very great application resume, and just please give us a quick summary of who you are to the people that might not know and why you're running for this position.
Okay, as you know, I've lived in Wrentham for 38 years. My husband and I didn't even think we'd be able to live here when we were looking for a house. And when the real estate agent drove up and I looked out the window, like, really? I'm pointing at the house and he's like, yep, that's the house. So very happy. I've retired from 41 years of healthcare in the infectious disease labs. I have very good attention to detail for that. And I do have some good communication skills. And I just feel like now that I'm retired and I have time on my hands, I would like to give back to the town that I like so much.
That's great. And congratulations on your retirement, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm going to open it up to the board members quickly, starting with Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, Rachel, first of all, once again, I'd like to thank you for your willingness to help serve the community. And I don't have any further questions, but I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I had previously read through these applications. I look very, obviously talented for the position, land use department desire. And thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
Selectman Lamoth.
I just love the fact that people are coming to another chapter in their life, me too, and want to give back to the town. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's great. We have a lot of great residents. So, Rachel, hang tight. We're going to interview the other candidates, and then the board is going to take a vote. So hang tight, please. Next up, we've got Steve. So, Steve, can you just tell me how to say your last name, please?
Sure, it's Savantek.
Well, welcome, Steve Savantek.
Thank
I
you.
apologize for butchering your name. Please do us a favor as well. And just give us a quick identify yourself. You've been in Wrentham for 31 years. It looks like you're also retired. Geez, I'm getting jealous from all your retirees here. And give us a little history about yourself and why you think you'd be such a great fit, Steve.
Sure, I appreciate that. And by the way, if at this point in my life, if I was upset over my name being mispronounced, I'd be a crazy person. So, it's I've been dealing with it all my life. So as long as you get the Steve right, I'm good.
Thank you.
I've been a resident of the town for 31 years. I am also an Army veteran. I served 7 years active duty in the 101st Airborne Division, as well as the 2nd Infantry Division in Korea. I recently retired. Matter of fact, today is my 1-year anniversary of my retirement. And the company that I retired from does service assurance and cybersecurity. So I was there for over 25 years with a background as a network engineer. Additionally, I do volunteer work with the American Cancer Society, providing rides for people who need rides for appointments. I also founded at my old company the mentorship program, which I'm still involved in as a mentor currently. At this point, my whole focus, quite honestly, in retirement is give back. I feel like I've been blessed. I have a lot of talent. The fact that I even made it to retirement, I thought was pretty good. But I want to do things for the community, and especially now that I have the time, I want to give back to Wrentham. I do have 6 years experience as chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and that was quite interesting. We had quite a few interesting things, but I want to give back. I want to serve the town, serve the community.
Thank you so much, Stephen, and thank you for your service, by the way. This board and our town appreciates men and women who put their lives on the line to protect us. So thank you so much. Selectman Anderson, let's start with you, sir.
So Steve, I'm also retired, and looks like I'm dedicated the rest of my life to serving the town as well. So I wish you good luck on this, and I thank you for your service as well.
Thank you.
Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Steve, when were you on the zoning board? What years was that?
1997 to 2003.
So that was pretty early back when there was a lot of 40B going on and a lot of development back in those days.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's changed names now, but Eaglebrook, when I was the chairman, we approved that 40B.
Nice. Appreciate your service, and thank you for volunteering to serve our town.
Thank you.
Selectman Lamoth.
I just love your service, both to the nation and to the town. Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
Okay, hang tight, Steve. And now we have yet another retiree, Mr. Hall, with us this evening. Jeff Hall, I know personally, is a fellow Lion. Jeff, can you do it? 65-year resident of Wrentham. Wow. Jeff, can you do me a favor and introduce yourself to those who don't know you? Quick summary on, your interests, and we'll go from there. And I hope you did hear me when I said that you could make my life a lot easier by honoring your request to be on the Open Space Committee as well. Just putting that bug out there, Mr. Hall.
Sure, Chris. Chris, don't worry. You'll join the ranks of the retirement someday, and I hope you enjoy it as much as the rest of us.
Me
I'm
too.
Jeff Wallace. I said I've lived in the town for 65 years. I know the landscape pretty well. I know an awful lot of the townspeople that make up our wonderful town. And again, I've retired. I've been retired now a couple of years. Early on in my career, I was involved really on the financial side of Wrentham with the Finance Committee, Capital Expenditures Committee, School Planning Committee, Sewer Study Committee, and the list goes on. I have not been as active in town committees and boards in recent years, but because I am retired, I said, once again, like to be involved. Steve, a lot of the same reasons that you stated as well on that. This committee caught my eye. I was really involved in the actual open space in the town. I actually attended a couple of meetings of the CPC last May and last June in the hopes I had applied for the position a year ago. I actually went to the CPA boot camp and attended that online, which was a very, very well-run boot camp to really give you the background of how it got started and what it's all about and this and that. So I got word that there was a vacancy again this year for a member at large, and I'm coming back again in the hopes that I could be appointed to that committee. Chris, my preference is the CPC as opposed to the open space. I got the wind of the open space first and then realized that there was going to be a resignation of a sitting member at large, and then decided to go once again for the Community Preservations Commission, I should say. So it's where I sit tonight.
All right, thank you. We'll take that under advisement, but yeah, thank you. Selectman Anderson, we'll start with you.
I think it was Jeff. Well, first of all, I've known Jeff for probably 45, 50 years. He's done a lot for the community over the years, and I'm sure that whatever board or commission he should get on, he'll do a tremendous job.
Hear, hear. Agreed. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, thanks, the chair. So I met Jeff quite a few years ago, maybe 25, 30 years ago. Known him for a great many number of years, obviously. I'm also in the Lions with him. Being on CPC or previously, because my appointment's also expiring. I am familiar with him and putting his request in for last year, and he's got a great resume, and wish him the best.
Yeah, and for the record, we'll get to you in a few minutes, Selectman Harrington. So you just sit tight as well. Okay, so listen, we have three very, very qualified candidates here. We've heard everyone. Unfortunately, I can only appoint two. What's the will of the board? I will say that I probably will not support anyone that isn't support. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to back up. I probably myself will support the chairwoman because I know she's an incumbent. She's doing a great job. She is the chair. So that's kind of my 2 cents. Obviously, open for discussion with the will of the board. I'd hate to see. We have again 3 great candidates. I already told you what my plan what I'd love to have happen. I know Jeff doesn't see it essentially that way, but he did apply for both positions. So clearly there is a level of interest on both. So what's the will of the board? Selectman Innocent, I'll start with you. Do you have any, do you want to make any motions? Do you have any, what do you think we should do?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I think all the candidates are very well qualified. I was wondering though, maybe this is a question for Mike King. Is it possible if we vote one in as an associate?
So my recommendation when it comes to associates and alternate members, that is, if the bylaw doesn't call for it, then specifically, because certain committees and bylaws do call or allow for associate and alternate members, that the select board do not go that route. And in this case, there is not a additional qualification in the bylaw for associate or alternate members.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do you have any motions to make, or do you have anything we should talk?
I'll listen to the other two members.
All right, Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, obviously, being on the board, working with Robin, I highly recommend that she, being the incumbent, maintain her seat. She does a great job. She's probably one of the smartest people on that committee, and I enjoy working with her very much. The other three candidates have, great backgrounds. They're all very, longtime residents. They're all dedicated. I think each one of them would be wonderful on the committee. I don't see that any of them have, with the exception of the zoning board, I don't see any of them, previously on any other board that would have conflicts. And it's going to be a tough decision to make.
All right, so let's Selectman Lamoth, do you have anything to add before I'm going to make a motion in a minute, but do you have anything to add before I make the first motion?
No, I think I'm aligned with where you're going. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to appoint Robin Cuddy to the Community Preservation Commission as a resident at large, citizen at large, for a term effective immediately and expiring June 30, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson?
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Moth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. All right, so I did the easy one.
Yeah,
All right, next one. Now we have to decide between three very, very, very good candidates. Or
Can I
no,
ask, sorry, Mr. Chair, can I ask one question first?
Go ahead.
On the open space, there is 2 seats open on open space or just one?
Mike?
There are 2 as of this time.
Okay, and there's one person that submitted an application that we're coming up to, so there's still another spot.
Correct. So the one person that we're coming up to later on is Mr. Hall, and then there was the woman who earlier in the meeting indicated that she also had interest, which would be the second role.
Okay. So with Mr. Hall's expressed interest in actually being on CPC more so than open space, are either of the other 2 candidates, Rachel or Steve, interested in the other seat that would potentially be open? Is that okay to ask through you, Mr. Chair?
Mike, is that okay to ask?
It's-
Because they didn't
it's-
apply for
Yeah,
those.
they didn't apply. I would recommend that an application be sent in specifically identifying open space and the reasons for wanting to join it.
Right, so, and we're gonna be doing the open space one with that other woman's application on the next meeting, correct?
That would be the plan. So there would be an opportunity to apply.
So there could, so one of these, if they're interested, Rachel or Steve are interested, or Jeff, we could narrow it down to 2 people. If one of them was interested in open space, and then we could talk about that in our next meeting in July.
How many seats? There's 2 seats on open space, right, Mike?
Mr.
Yes.
And
Chair.
if, and if Jeff took one of them and then the other lady took the other, there's your 2 seats right there.
Or one of the other, if Rachel or Steve were interested.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
going back to the Commission on Disabilities, again, if Rachel Hill, with her healthcare history, were to consider that as an opportunity, there are 4 appointments there for which we only had 1 applicant.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Yeah. So Mr. Chairman, and Selectman Aloff brings up a good point. There's going to be actually some, once the board goes through and does some appointments and reappointments tonight, there's still going to be some vacancies on other committees that will advertise.
Yeah.
So there will be opportunities for individuals that may not get appointed tonight to their preferred committee to apply for other committees for consideration to the select board.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So who wants to make a motion for the other community, the other seat? Because we have 1 more to make, right?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to have Steve Svintek take on the role for the Preservation Committee.
All right. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I would just ask that the term be identified.
Sorry, I apologize. That's why you're here. So I guess the motion would be to appoint Steve Savintek to the Community Preservation Commission
Committee.
Committee as a resident at large for the term effective immediately and expiring on June 30, 2027. That would be the motion.
That's my motion.
Motion was made by Selectman Lamoth. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
A second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, so you, as I said before, everyone needs to go see the town clerk to be sworn in before you can attend a meeting. Congratulations to both of you. Mr. Hall, please don't go anywhere. Now, before we get to that, though, we have to talk about the select board member appointment to the Community Preservation Committee. Currently, we have Selectman Harrington representing our board. I think he's doing a fine job. Is there anyone else on the board that would like to throw their hat in the ring before I make a motion to reappoint Selectman Harrington? And I'll start off Selectman Anderson.
I actually think Selectman Harrington has done a great job. I'd be more than happy to support that.
Me too. Selectman Lamoth.
I would just like Mr. Selectman Harrington to educate me on all the good things he's been involved in and continue that role.
All right, through me, I guess that's a question for you, Selectman Harrington. What have you done? Why should we reappoint you? And do you want to be reappointed?
You shouldn't. I think I just got a text from Selectman Rouse. She's making a motion for Roy to advance his career in the community with all his time being retired.
I'm not there yet. Not there yet.
Hey, she's not here. Motion denied. So go ahead, Bill. What have you been able to accomplish on the CPC? And all joking aside, I hear you doing a great job. I listen into some of the meetings. It sounds like you're doing a very good job. So just give us a quick summary.
The quick summary on CPC: the select board is really really doesn't have a stake in the game. The select board members and the citizen at large are there more to field the projects, make sure that the applications are correct and that they're eligible, and to keep the other committees in track with, open space, housing, recreation, and keep everybody on track to keep the projects moving forward and make sure that our funding is, spent in the best fashion that we can for the town. I think we do some valuable work. I think we've done some great projects. Very proud of the school playground that we did. Very, very proud of the lighting that we're going to be assisting with. The columns on the historic church came out amazing, and we're looking very much forward to continuing the project at the Little Fisk Library. That particular project, if appointed, is near and dear to me. I think that building is a true part of Wrentham's history, and it's a valuable committee, and I think we do good work and do spend the money wisely for the town.
Okay, sold. At this time, yeah, I would entertain a motion to appoint William Harrington to the Community Preservation Committee as Select Board Representative for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being absolutely none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Anderson's an absolute yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, unequivocally yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations, and make sure to get sworn in, Selectman Harrington. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the next group is the Conservation Commission. Okay, now let's talk about Conservation Commission. It looks like we have a total number of 3 possible appointments. We have 2 incumbents, which are Diane Demarius and Seth Jensen. And it looks like we have an additional applicant, Lynn. And I think policy, Mike King, if I'm not mistaken, is if we have two incumbents and they've already been interviewed in the past, the only person we would need to interview this evening is Lynn. And I don't want to butcher your last name, Lynn, but Lynn, is that correct, Mike?
That is correct, because the number of applicants does not exceed the number of appointments.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to see if Lynn is with us this evening.
Lynn was the one that we had received a letter about from the Conservation Commission chair that she was not going to be available.
Well,
but
that's
was
why you're
recommended.
here. Thank you very much. That's why you're here. So she wasn't able to be with us this evening, but the board has her application in our packet. She's been a resident for 47 years. She's a homeschool educator. She's got a very impressive background. You know, and I, you know, my personal opinion, I think she'd be a great fit. And don't we have a letter of recommendation from the chairman as well?
We do.
We do.
Okay, well, that's all I need to see. So, any further discussion from the board before I ask for a motion? Seeing none, I'd like to, chair would entertain a motion to appoint Lynn, can someone tell me the appropriate pronunciation of her last name, please? Mike?
I see it as Melise.
Melise, okay. Well, then you're in trouble if that's not accurate because I asked. So, chair would entertain a motion to appoint Lynn Melise to the Conservation Commission for a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Second, a motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations to Lynn. Please make sure she gets sworn in. And then, Mike, do we have to reappoint these other two incumbents?
They are on the reappointment list, which is later on in the agenda.
All right, so we'll just do a blanket reappointment later on in the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. We're cooking with gas now. Okay, next we're going to go to the Council on Aging. So Council on Aging, Mike, we have, it looks like a number of 3 total appointments, and it looks like we have 3 incumbents. And I will say that I actually fielded a phone call earlier this evening, Mike, with Cindy Thompson, who's withdrawn her name from consideration due to the fact that she didn't realize there was incumbents that wanted to be reappointed. So I just want to make that known. That's why she's not here this evening. And I encourage Ms. Thompson, our former wonderful clerk, to please, you know, there's plenty of other boards and commissions that we need help with. And she told me she would, you know, look at serving in one of those other capacities. So I think that's a win-win for all of us. So in this situation, we have 3 incumbents. We have, it looks like we have 3 other people that have shown an interest in, you know, being appointed. I think we have 2 of the incumbents here with us this evening, Wayne Burt and Judy Simmons, but Paul Bruneau was unable to attend tonight's meeting due to a funeral. Is that correct, Mr. King?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so wouldn't protocol be, you know, we'll start with Wayne Burt and Judy Simmons. You know, ask them, you know, just a quick interview, and then we'll get to the other applicants. Shannon, these names are all going to kill me tonight. Beatty, Valerie LaRusso, Janice Rose. So if that's okay with the board, we're going to start off with Mr. Burt. If Mr. Burt is with us this evening. Okay, well, yes.
Yeah, as incumbents, do we have to interview them or no?
You do, because they're contested spots.
Okay.
But believe me, the incumbent status weighs heavily with our board. But we do, to be fair, because they're contested. So Mr. Burt isn't with us. Jeff, this is the same Wayne Burt that's in the Lions Club with us, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I know Wayne very well. I know you do as well. Dedicated member of the Lions Club, great individual, loves Wrentham. I'm not advocating, I'm just telling you what I know about him. So let's hold off on him for a second. Is Judy Simmons here?
Judy, you're muted.
Hi, Judy. There's a little at the bottom left, you're going to see an audio button and it says click to unmute.
Yes, do you hear me now?
I do. You did a great job. How are you this evening?
I'm well. I just wanted to say it again that my name is pronounced Simons, like Simon's Furniture, but no relation.
Okay, I apologize, Judy Simons. And you'll remember I asked for a blanket. I asked for blanket immunity
Forgiveness.
earlier and forgiveness.
I'm right with you because
Okay.
as you can see from my reapplication, the computer was not my friend the day I tried to do that. So
Don't you worry about it. Judy, will you do me a favor and just say a quick hello to the board members? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be reappointed.
yes, everyone, again, Judy Simons. I've lived in Wrentham for 62 years. I've always been, I love Wrentham as a town. And as my children grew, I loved the fact that I was able to become involved in their life here and the town, starting out with working with my church as a teacher in a CCD. And then I went on as my children grew up and started their own life. I was volunteering for the police station in the office. I volunteered in the nurse's office. I've volunteered and been on the board for the Wrentham Food Pantry. And now I have been on the COA for 3 years, which I truly love. It's just, I feel like I'm giving back. I'm now including myself in what I've loved all these years. I'm meeting new people and I'm doing things that I love to do.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Judy. Selectman Anderson, do you have anything to add?
First of all, Judy, it's good to see you again.
Hi, you too.
Yeah. So I've known Judy for a long time, and I know she does a terrific job. So I've got no further questions.
All right, thank you, Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I know Jody from the Sportsman's Club
Yeah.
for a great many number of years, and I think she does a wonderful job, and it's great to see you.
Thank you too.
Oh, great. I'm also a member of the Sportsman Club, Judy.
Yes.
Great. And Selectman Lamoth.
No questions, Judy. Keep going. Great job.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You know what I should have done? I'm gonna have Selectman Harrington read in Mr. Wayne Burt's appointment letter to the record, seeing as though he's not here. You okay with that, Bill?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Page 37.
So name Wayne Burt, board committee, commission, council on aging, length of tenure and board committee, 3 years, brief synopsis and the work you've done. Currently serves as secretary for the council and I'm willing to continue in that role. Provide a list of upcoming projects. The current senior center is too small for growing senior population in Wrentham. I'd like to continue working ways to address that problem. What are you interested in continuing? I try to be a voice of the senior population. When I hear of issues that are brought to my attention, I would continue to be their voice. And that's it.
All right, great job. So we've already heard from Judy, and as I indicated before, Mr. Bruno couldn't be with us this evening. He had a funeral to go to. So Mr. Harrington, do you mind reading his reappointment application into the record?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So Paul Bruno, Council on Aging, he's been a member since 2022. He's also been on the 350th committee, attendance at meetings and general participation, assist with conservation cleanup as needed, enjoys helping seniors and people in need. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so that's the 3 incumbents. Now we have Shannon Beatty. Shannon, are you with us this evening? Oh, hi, Shannon. Are you with us this evening?
I am.
You know, I got to tell you, I do not like how
Shannon. Good evening.
So, Shannon, do you have 2 devices on?
I got to tell you, I do not like how I
sounds like I'm getting feedback from you. Does anyone?
So, Shannon, do you have 2 devices on?
Yeah. You have a phone.
Sounds like I'm getting feedback from you. Does anyone? Yeah. You have a phone iPad and leave one of them.
Is that any better? I'm only using a laptop.
Let me try it. Can you hear me? Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Let me try it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
So Shannon, what's happening is the rest of us hear me talk to you, and then 10
So
seconds
Shannon, what's happening is the rest of us hear me talk to
again.
you, and then 10 seconds they hear me again.
I'll disconnect and call back on my phone. Would that be better?
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I would recommend that she try disconnecting and calling back in or relogging in.
Disconnecting and calling back in or relogging in.
And we can move on to the next step.
And we can move on to the call us back. Call us back, and we'll move on and come back. Very humbling to hear yourself after the fact, I got to tell you. Let's move on. Do we have Valerie LaRusso with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Valerie. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you? I'm just trying to figure out how to put on my camera.
Down at
Yep, got it. Got
so 72-year resident. God bless you.
I beat them all. I beat everyone tonight.
It's great to have you, Valerie. Thank you for putting yourself out there. Can you please just give us a quick intro? Hello, who you are, and why you want to be on the Council of Aging, please?
Sure. I am a lifelong resident of Wrentham. I retired from the Roderick School as a teaching paraprofessional after 30 years. And I was on the board of directors of the Horace Mann Educational Association, which is a vendor for the Department of Developmental Services. I was a parent advisor on the board. I'm currently involved with the Jean Cahill Social Rep program that is for disabled adults. I have been with them for 25 years. And let me just say, I don't want to be on your disability committee. I am very busy with these others. I was on the contract negotiations for the paraprofessionals at the Roderick in 2019. I found out that there was a senior swim at the Wrentham Developmental Center that stopped at COVID, and nobody seemed to be checking it out. I did. I went over. I got it set up. We have 12 seniors now swimming every week. We are now doing bocce. We couldn't get it done at the senior center. It just wasn't feasible. There's not enough room. We've got 10 bocce players now. We haven't even advertised it yet in the newsletter. I'm just thinking that maybe a new board member, a new voice, new ideas might be a good thing for the senior center and its future. And that's it.
I think you make a very good case. Very nice to meet you. I wish you the best this evening. No matter what happens, we're lucky to have you in any capacity. So thank you in advance. I'm going to open it up to the board, starting with Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I've known Val for a lot of years. I know she did good work at the school. Her husband owned a business in town for many years as well. So I think she'd be an asset. And Val, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Ellie, that opening up that swimming program again after COVID is that's wonderful. That's great work, and to be an advocate for the seniors in that role is great. I really appreciate it, and wish you the best.
Thank you.
Selectman Lamothe.
I love the fact that you volunteered and made things happen despite not being on any committee. You just took over. That's great, and yeah, you've got a shot at this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, stay right there, Val. We're going to go back to Shannon. Shannon, good to see you again. Let's try this again. How you doing tonight, Shannon?
I'm doing well. Is this better?
I'll tell you in about 20 seconds.
It's good.
It seems good, though. So thank you for dialing back in. I love the persistence. I don't know what happened before. Thank you for being a resident of ours for 27 years. And please give us a quick introduction, why you're going for this position, and a little bit about yourself, please.
Certainly, and apologies for the technical difficulties earlier. Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Beatty. I've been, as you've mentioned, Chris, a resident of Wrentham for 27 years. I'm recently retired from the federal government. So after a career in public service, I was looking for ways to give back to the community that has treated myself and my family so well over the past 20 plus years. All three of my children went through the school systems here in Wrentham and King Philip, and it's just been a great community to me, and I'm in a position to give back. By way of background, I am a certified public accountant. I've also recently become a volunteer speaker for AARP and some of their programs, and that's really what aligned my interest with the Council on Aging, looking to bring some of their programs to our community. The ones that captured my heart the most right off the bat were fraud scams and driver safety for older Americans. And then beyond that, I'm also caregivers for my parents and my mother-in-law, and have come to recognize some of the challenges facing our older community, and I'm looking for ways to help contribute in that regard. And I see some of the programs that our own Council on Aging has provided to the community, the trips, the services, particularly the call-ins on a weekly basis to our community members, and I'm looking for an opportunity to provide my skills and commitment to the town.
Wow, thank you. Very impressive. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, I agree. Very impressive background, and you know, whether it's this board or any other board, I think should be an asset.
Agreed. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Chair. So, Shannon, it's nice to see you. Our children were similarly aged. Ours were a little bit older. You worked with a very, very dear friend of mine for a part of your 27 years. And your resume is very impressive. I think you do a wonderful job assisting down at the Council on Aging. And thank you for volunteering.
Selectman Lamar.
I'm wishing we had 5 open spots, because
Yeah.
this is an excellent group of newcomers to the event. Thank you very much for applying, and this is going to be some tough decisions. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Selectman Lamar. This is very difficult. So, you know, we've got a decision to make. We've got to do what's best for the community. You know, but it's just difficult. You know, and Mike, do we have, just to verify, do we have any letters of support from anyone from the Council on Aging, either for the incumbents or any of the new applicants?
We do not. I did speak with the Council on Aging director, and she did say that the existing incumbents are working harmoniously with the board, and that they've all been a pleasure to work with.
So this is the challenge we have. It's very difficult for me to unseat a volunteer in a volunteer position when
Mr. Chair, not to interrupt you, we have one more.
What do you mean we have? Oh, we missed
Janice Rose.
All right, so let me just say this before we talk to Janice Rose, because I can see how this is going. It's very difficult for this board or any other board to unseat incumbents when you have a board that's functioning. But I will say that this group of applicants is wow. You know, we are lucky to have you in our community, and whether you get appointed to this board or not, I would please encourage you to run for another board or committee, because this group of people I'm impressed, you know, way more impressive than my resume. So we're just blessed to have you in the community. And with that being said, before I move forward, I thank you, Selectman Harrington, for keeping me on track. Is Janice Rose with us this evening? Janice Rose? Do we have an application for Janice in our packet? Okay, so we do. Bill, do you want to go ahead since she's not here? Just give us a quick.
Yep, it's an application. Janice Rose, 170 Winter Street. She's retired, resident for 49 years. Nothing in that field, nothing in that field. Background, she's an election worker and do the senior work-off program in the clerk's office. no other boards or committees. And that's it.
Okay, thank you for that. So back to my comment that I was making. Yeah, this is a tough one. We have 3 incumbents. They seem to be doing a great job. We have a notion of support from the Council on Aging, but yet we have 3 incredible applicants. So, what's the will of the board? We're going to start with Selectman Lamoth on this one. We're going to put him in the hot seat.
I'd like to put some new blood in there.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Selectman Harrington?
I'm with Selectman Lamoth.
Okay. Selectman Anderson, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'm open to the will of the board, but also any consideration at all for associates on this board?
It's a great question, Mike King.
The town bylaw does not facilitate associates, so it's 7 members. The town in the future could amend the bylaw to allow for associates or alternates. And there's nothing preventing anyone from attending these meetings as well.
So let's look into that at a future date, but that doesn't help us for tonight. Again, I'm open to the will of the board. Again, it's difficult when you have a board that's, full of incumbents. They're doing a good job working harmoniously with the council, but I do understand that there might be a will here to put a little bit of new ideas and fresh blood, as they say, in. So I would propose, if that's the will of the board, we take a balanced approach. And don't just I don't support, removing all 3 incumbents. I would be open to a conversation on a recommendation, but I do believe that some of these incumbents are doing doing very good work. I mean, they're all doing very good work. I'm sorry.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
Okay. So my motion would be that the folks that were here to represent themselves I understand people that can't make it, and for many various reasons. My recommendation would be to put Judy Simon, sorry, Shannon Beatty and Valerie LaRusso would be my 3 candidates for the 3 open spots.
I second that.
Now, so that's fine. There was a motion made by Selectman Harrington and a second by Selectman Lamoth. So now here's where I say, is there any further discussion? And yes, there is, because I'm going to say something.
Okay.
Although I agree with you both, I do just want to reiterate the fact that the reason that Paul Bruneau couldn't be here tonight was because he was at a funeral. It wasn't that he was drinking at a bar or playing cards. He was at a funeral. So I just want you to take that under advisement.
Chairman, I understand that and recognize that as well, but I also read the application, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a motion made by Selectman Harrington and a second made by Selectman Lamoth. I asked if there was sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, if we could just make the motions individually and then include the term effective dates.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. Let me back up. So, Bill, I want you to redo your motion and go to where it says on page 36.
Okay.
There's 1, 2, 3 appointments. I want you to make the motion for the first person who you want and read the term.
Okay, so motion to appoint Judy Simons to the Council on Aging for the term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
Is there a second by Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth seconds it.
Okay, any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallows, a yes. Motion carries 4-0. Selectman Harrington, I'm going to turn the floor back over to you.
Okay, so to appoint Shannon Beatty to the Council on Aging for a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
Is there a second?
I thought you said Valerie LaRusso first time.
Well, she's next.
Oh, okay.
Same term.
Same term, correct.
Second.
All right, so motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth,
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Third, Selectman Harrington, floor is yours.
To appoint Valerie LaRusso to the Council on Aging for a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring on June 30th, 2028.
Is there a second?
Second.
Lamoth, second.
So there was a motion made by Selectman Harrington, a second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. We would ask everyone to please, as I said before, go get sworn in with the town clerk's office before you could go to your first meeting. We thank all of the incumbents for their service. And we thank all of the new members who stepped up this evening. And we encourage everyone to continue to support our Council on Aging, whether you were appointed tonight or not. It was a very difficult decision for this board, one we don't take lightly. And we just, again, thank you and ask for your support. So let's move on to the next one. It looks like we have, let me just scroll back up. Next appointment we have is the Cultural Council. So for this one, it looks like there's 3 appointment seats. There's 1 incumbent that does not require an interview because there's only 2 other interested parties. And that is, correct my pronunciation, the incumbent is Deepa Bahini. Is that correct?
I can't say for sure, Selectman Gallo.
Okay, well, I apologize if that's not correct. And then we have 2 other people, Kaiva Varadam and Kim Carr. We do want to hear from Kaiva Varadam and Kim Carr, right, as new appointments, correct, Mr. King?
That is correct.
So at this time, I'd like to see if, and I apologize for butchering your name, if Kaiva is with us. Kaiva, are you with us? If not, Bill, do you mind?
Nope, ready when you are.
Go ahead,
Name-
just give us the skinny.
All right, so her occupation, she's a software engineer. She's been in Wrentham for 5 years. She's looking to be on the Cultural Council. She's a master in business and software. I'm excited to apply for the Cultural Council as someone who is possibly about dance, cultural expression, and community events. I enjoy exploring different cultures and believe in the power of the arts to bring people together. I'd love to contribute my energy and ideas to support and grow meaningful cultural programs in our town. Cultural committee member in Telugu Association of Greater Boston.
Okay, thank you so much. We also have with us, is Kim Carr with us this evening? Kim Carr. All right, let's scroll down. Bill, please, the honors. You're making your money tonight, Bill.
All right, so Kim Carr, she's a sales consultant. She's been in town 28 years. She's got a BS from UMass in Amherst. Longtime resident of Wrentham, interested in keeping my small New England town culturally vibrant for all. She's been the WPS school committee chair for 7 years, WPS school committee high school rep for 2 years.
Okay, so it looks like we have to make 2 motions here, correct? So it looks like we're gonna make well, this is gonna be easy then, because their terms are the same. So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to appoint Kaiva Varadam to the Cultural Council for a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
Well, hold on, Mr. Chair. So there's 3 appointments?
No, there's 3 spots. There's 1 incumbent and 2 appointments. That makes 3.
The incumbents we'll cover later.
Incumbents we cover later. Yes, Selectman.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Sorry to interrupt.
No, so that's okay. But what you can do is you can second my you can make my motion.
Second.
Okay, so motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Kim Carr to the Cultural Council for a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson,
Yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth,
Yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Great job, everybody. Next, we're going to go to we're almost done, Historical Commission. Okay, number of appointments, 3. It looks like we have 3 applicants. Okay, this is a good one, 3 and 3. No incumbents, so we are going to hear from each person, right, Mike King?
Yes.
And all of the appointments are the same, correct?
That is correct. They were all ending June 30th, 2028.
Okay, so let's start with William Jones. Mr. Jones, how are you this evening?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Welcome to the meeting. Please give us and thank you for being a resident for 55 years, by the way, Mr. Jones. Please give us a quick intro, why you're interested in the position.
Well, I've been here, like you said, 55 years. I've got an antique home in Sheldonville area, and I'm very interested in the history. When I came to Wrentham, I was first initiated into the Council on Aging with a guy named Al Langell back in the 80s, where we started a food programs, a drop-in center, and we went in Boston and got $3,000 from the Elder Affairs for buying a mini van for the seniors. After 7 years on the Council on Aging, I was on a sweat fund study committee, and I became a member of the Ad Hoc Advisory Committee. I was on that committee for 24 years, 22 of which I was chairman. I retired from the Foxborough Company as an engineering manager in 2011, and I started to volunteer into the town clerk's office back then with Carol Malika. They had just received some state computers, and we were initially loading them up with voting information, registration of voters, and doing census. I've been a volunteer in there since 2011, like I say, and over the years, I've worked at the elections. I was a deputy on the deputy warden at the elections. And there was a few occasions where when Carol Malika was in, she asked me to do some research. One of the research things she asked me to look at was look at who was town clerk before her. And so I went to the town records. In the town hall, we have records that go back to 1886. And I found through those records, all the town clerks till then. I told her I couldn't go any further because I know there was another 200 years of history in this town, and I didn't know where the information was. And she said it was in 16 volumes, handwritten volumes, ink, quill, pen on paper. It's 11 by 17. And then some of it is actually 16 by 14, large ledger books. She gave me permission, and I was honored to be able to have access to those books, which are in the vault in the town hall. I started with volume 1. Volume 1, the first page in volume 1 was dated the 23rd of November, 1656. I started reading through there to get an idea of who was town clerk. And it was so interesting that I decided that I ought to start taking notes. Notes became almost impossible. So what I did is I tried to transpose. I wrote everything that was written in the books on Word on the computer. I did all those 16 volumes. It took me 5 years to do it. 2,200 pages of documents that I transposed. I wrote it as it was written. And it was difficult sometimes. The old English writing, everything was in pounds, shillings and pence, or links and rods for links. And I printed all that out, and it is now available to everybody in town at the clerk's office. They're trying to also put it into the genealogy room at the library. And of course, some of that, all of that has to go over to the Historical Society, or Historical Commission. I said society because I was also in the society many years ago. I am interested now to kind of transfer over to the historical side because I'd like to take a look at the artifacts and how well they've been preserved. And so that's why I would like to get appointed to it. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, Bill, thank you for that. I don't think there'll be many questions after that explanation, but thank you so much for that. You did some great work, very impressive. Selectman Anderson, anything else to add?
I've known Bill for a long time. His credentials are impeccable, and he'll do a great job, and I would certainly support him.
All right, great. Selectman Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So first and foremost, thank you for your 5 years of putting the books together. As you know, that the town we've got a archiving program going on right now, being funded through the CPC, and I certainly hope the original books and your documents are being added to that. Thank you for doing it, and very impressive resume. Thank you.
Okay, Selectman Lamoth.
I'm impressed, and if Bill goes for him, excuse me, not Bill, Jim. If Jim says he's okay, I'm okay. That's great.
Yeah, and I know him as well. He's more than okay. He's a good guy. Great resident. Okay, so we're also going to hear from Zach. Zach, is it O'Friel, Zach? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, O'Friel.
Okay, Zach O'Friel, everybody. Welcome, Zach. Give us the quick intro, who you are and why you are going for this position.
Hey everyone, my name's Zach O'Friel. So I'm currently an associate member of the Wrentham Historical Commission. I joined last August. Basically, I've been serving, kind of consulting on different history matters that we encounter as the commission. Of course, we had there was the cold case that we're involved in. That was back in September. That was right when I joined. So I kind of just, deferred to the other members as we were going through that. And then the big thing we're working on now is the Rochambeau Monument. So that's going to be right on the site of King Philip High School. So we're preparing for that event. I believe that event's going to be in August. So I'll be excited to be a part of that. Some of my credentials, I have a master's in history from Providence College. I also went to Providence College for my undergrad degree as well. I currently work as a history teacher and English teacher at Woonsocket High School. So I'm currently, in the field. And one of the things I really like about history is that people can learn about the people and the people in their community, especially, and study their lives. And then when they do that, they're able to engage with that and really, come to a deeper meaning of what their community is, how it got to where it is, and then where it may go in the future. So I'm really interested in engaging the public in their local history, working with the artifacts. We already do that at the Fisk Museum. And I look forward to working with that in the future.
Great, very impressive. Thank you for your service, educating the youth of today. Woonsocket, next town over. Great to have you here, resident for a year. Anything to add or ask, Selectman Anderson?
Nope, I like Zach's his background, and I think he'll do a good job.
Great, Harrington.
Yeah, sorry. No questions. Yeah, thank you for your service. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Selectman Lamoth.
I've seen you've been hanging around with Justin a little bit, so sounds like you'd be a great fit. Thank you.
Okay, last person is Gina Solaris. Gina, welcome to the meeting. Please say hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself as I look over your application here. You've been a resident for a couple of years, almost 3 years. So welcome, and please give us a quick understanding of who you are and why you want to be on this commission.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Gallo. My name is Gina Solaris. I moved to Wrentham in 2022. I really liked the charm of Wrentham. We definitely looked at a lot of houses in that search in 2022. But before that, I was living on the property of the Fairbanks House, which is the oldest timber frame house in America, and it is now a house museum. So living on the property gave me, firsthand experience, seeing all that happens through like the museum process, day-to-day operations, as well as planning, communications, events, everything like that, and also gave me a deeper appreciation for old buildings and preserving history and really telling the stories that make history come to life. It's more than just dates in a book. So I like to tell the story of history like that. My career, I currently lead North America operations for a robotics company. So I think my skill set is typically project management, organization, prioritization. So I think I feel very confident assisting in, you know, helping the historical commission with event planning or any projects that need to be done. Also, some of you may already know, my husband is Justin Schlesinger. He is the former chair of the Historical Commission, so I'd say history lives in my house. But he was elected to the planning board and now serving for the planning board, and has stepped off of the Historical Commission, which leaves some open spaces for some other candidates. I would really like to contribute to the town that we just moved to, and get involved and, you know, help Wrentham preserve its history as well as grow thoughtfully and work efficiently and make a great community experience.
That sounds great. I thought that was you, Gina. I was thrown off by your last name, and I won't hold it against you who your husband is in my decision.
Yeah, I hope not.
I'm kidding. I love Justin. He's a great guy. So that was a joke.
I think he's here somewhere, so.
Maybe not a good one, but that was a joke. So anyway, open it up to the board quickly. Selectman Anderson, anything to ask or add?
No, I just want to thank Gina for her willingness to serve, and I wish her well in the future.
All right, Selectman Harrington.
Thanks, Gina, and being a former Dedhamite, and Dedham was part of Wrentham. It's great to have you, and look forward to working with you in your position.
Selectman Lamothe.
I was going to say you're another person that hangs out with Justin, so that's great. So thank you and welcome.
Okay, at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint William Jones to the Historical Commission, a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Zach O'Friel to the Historical Commission for a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamothe. Any further discussion? Being none. Anderson.
Yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Lamothe, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. And finally, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Gina Solarius to the Historical Commission for a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington, yes.
Lamothe.
Yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations to you all. Go get sworn in, and we'll see you at your next meeting. And welcome to the team. Okay. All right. Next one. We're on open space. Okay. Open space. Two alternatives we can appoint. There's 0 incumbents. There's 1 applicant, Jeff Hall. So I know, Jeff, thank you for hanging around and staying with us. I know this wasn't your first choice, but I would really appreciate you, because you did show interest, filling this position, as it is an important one. And I know you personally, as well as I know at least a couple of the other board members know you as well as I do, and know that, as we said earlier, you would be an asset in any position on any commission. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you stepping up and volunteering for this one as well. So do you have anything to address the board before we ask you any questions that we might have?
Nope, not at all.
Well, thank you for that. And Selectman Anderson, anything to ask or add? Mr. Hall?
No, I just go right to a motion.
All right. Anything, Selectman Harrington, anything?
Anderson, yes.
All right. And Selectman Lamar, anything? No,
I'm
remember,
with Anderson.
I'm still running the meeting, fellas. Do whatever you want. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Jeffrey Hall to the Open Space Commission as an alternative member for a term effective July 21st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington,
Second.
second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being
Yes.
not. Anderson,
Anderson's yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Hall. Please get sworn in, just like we said to everybody else. We really appreciate you. Last, but certainly not least, we will go to the last appointment is the Recreation Commission. Okay, so this one looks like we have a total number of 3 appointments. We have 2 incumbents, which are Ray Palmer and Steve Signes. And then we have 3 applicants. If I'm correct, right?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. We also have in an email in our packet, I believe, letters of support from the chair of the Recreation Commission, Mike King.
So there is we did receive a recommendation letter from Chairman Ray Palmer, who is going to be with us tonight as one of the incumbents who we will be interviewing.
Okay. And I also believe there was, I believe, was there an email? Was there an email I saw from Jeff Plimpton?
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
I'm just looking really quickly to see if there was. Okay. I think there was a, so there was a, who did they support, Mike?
So there was a recommendation letter that came in this evening from Mr. Palmer recommending Jonathan Longley.
Okay. I also believe I might have gotten an email. I thought the board was CC'd on it from Mr. Plimpton as well, also supporting Jonathan Longley. So board can take that under advisement as they see fit. So it looks we have 2 incumbents, and because this is a contested appointment, we do need to hear from them, right, Mike?
That is correct.
So let's start with Ray Palmer. Is Ray with us? No? Do we have any documentation from Ray in our packet?
Ray is on the call. He's listed.
Oh, Ray. Hi, Ray.
Sorry about that. Slow computer.
Don't worry about it. Welcome to the meeting.
Thanks.
Please just identify yourself to the board and why you're looking to be reappointed on the Recreation Commission.
Again, my name is Ray Palmer. I've been a town resident for a little over 27 years. I've been on the Rec Commission for 11, and have been the chair for about the last 5 or 6 years. In that time, I've basically touched a lot of the programs that the Rec Commission has supported. The Jane D'Amico Playground, anything to do with Rice Complex and its day-to-day operations. Actually provided structural engineering services for the construction of the recreation building over at the Rice Complex. Help out with Wrentham Day and the coordination of a lot of the vendors that are on the town common. And I was the chair of the float committee for the recent Wrentham 350 parade. But there's everything from day-to-day operations to support of the future projects that we have in the pipeline. So.
Yeah, and for the record, I hear you do a fantastic job. I know you and I have spoken in the past, so thank you for your service. Thank you for being the current chair, and thank you for your willingness to go for reappointment.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the other board members quickly. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I've known Ray for a number of years. He's done a tremendous job on the Recreation Commission, and I expect that he'll continue to do the same.
Great. Selectman Harrington.
No comments, Mr. Chair. Same, Ray does a great job. He does a wonderful job with that. committee and puts a great effort into it. It's greatly appreciated.
Great, Selectman Lamoth.
We're fortunate to have him, so that's great.
All right, moving on. Ray, stay right there.
Thank you.
We're gonna go. The other incumbent is Stevens. Is it Sig? How do you pronounce that?
Cygnus.
Cygnus. Steve, you with us?
I don't believe he is, sir.
Okay, so Steve's not with us, but he is an incumbent. Bill, do you mind just giving us a quick from his application? Quick reading the record.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. So, 10 years on the board. My main contribution is that I've worked to build and grow Wrentham Youth Rugby since its inception in 2013, and I've led the program since 2015. We operate as a rec program and have grown into K through 12 grade co-ed program, offering both rugby sevens program for all ages and high school rugby 15s program. We offer a summer and spring and fall session. Major goal of Wrentham Youth Rugby is to have removable goal posts installed and support our growing high school program, and we are working on this now. Once we have goal posts, we will lobby Bay State Games to hold their Rugby Sevens event in Wrentham. Hosting this event annually would bring money into the department and help us grow the game in town even more. I enjoy helping to create and execute events that provide our community with outdoor activities and ways to enjoy the beautiful facilities in town, whether through the rugby program or past events, including Oktoberfest, Turkey Whacker races, and Wrentham Day, among others. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ray, being as you're the chair, you've worked with Steve?
Yes, I have. I can heartily recommend Steve for reappointment. He actually took a handful of kids and created a rugby program, taught them all, and now he's got well over 50 kids in the program, and it's actually becoming recognized not just statewide but regional wide, and they have a very good chance of bringing that Bay State Championship tournament to Wrentham. He's very widely recognized.
Well, thank you so much for that. That means a lot coming from you. So thank you for that. We now have someone by the name of Ashley Lint. Ashley, you with us? No. Okay. Selectman Harrington, you're up.
All right, Mr. Chair. So, occupation, Town of Norfolk, assistant to the Recreation Director. She's been a resident in Wrentham for 40 years. She's seeking Recreation Commission. I've been an active member of the WIBSA community for the past 10 years, serving as both a coach and currently in my second 2-year term as board member. Additionally, I was general manager of local youth baseball and softball complex here in Wrentham, where we focused on strengthening community ties with local youth organizations. As a lifelong Wrentham resident and parent of 2 children ages 16 and 10 who have participated in various local programs and sport, I have a deep commitment to our community. My experience as both a parent and community leader has given me a strong appreciation for the importance of recreation programs and the positive impact they have on our youth families. I look forward to bringing my experience, passion, and dedication to the Recreation Commission, enhance and expand our opportunities for all members of our town.
All right.
Some youth baseball and softball board member 22 to present.
All right. Thank you for that. And then Sarah Malin Conoco. Sarah, did I get it right?
You did. Nice work. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the meeting. Please state your name. Tell us why you're going out for the Recreation Commission, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am a pretty new resident. I've been here about 5 years with my husband and my 6-year-old. I'm applying for Recreation Council Committee because I'm a huge advocate for sports and community programs. I've been playing hockey since I could walk, starting in Denver with the University of Denver in their youth program, one of 3 girls out of the entire community program they had there. We really championed women in hockey, and that grew as I grew and became what it is today, which is fabulous. And I'm also an avid runner. Moving here, I take full advantage to all of our open spaces and our recreational activities within the community and the surrounding communities. And I have a different history from a lot of the members here in that I have a background in graphic design and marketing. So my career is in the advertising world, marketing world. Most recently worked with ASICS, as well as other lifestyle and activewear companies. So a lot of my career has been around sports movement, championing movement, and getting kids and communities out there to reap the benefits. So just excited to get involved in our community, being a new person to not only the state, but also to Wrentham. Yeah, just looking for opportunities to get involved.
Great. I just want to thank you for your willingness to get involved. And I can tell by talking to you and looking at your resume here, you'd be an asset on any board or commission. So whether it's this one or another one, please get involved because we do need people like you helping keeping this town great. So thank you for that. And moving on, the last applicant is Jonathan Longley. Do we have Jonathan Longley here with us this evening?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Chair.
Welcome, Jonathan. Please just give us a quick little rundown of who you are and why you're going for the Recreation Commission.
Thank you. My name's Jonathan Longley. I've been in Wrentham for 10 years. I live here with my wife, Libby, and my two daughters. My wife, Libby, is originally from the area, went to KP. My youngest daughter is going to be entering kindergarten next year, and both my girls went to Little Red Schoolhouse in West Wrentham. So I'm looking to get involved, give back to the community. There's so many, exciting things happening recreation-wise with the Rice Complex and Metacon Greenway, Sweat Beach, and I just really want to participate in the community. I love the town and want to give back and want to get more involved. Currently been an educator my whole career for over 25 years. I've been an athletic administrator for 20 of those years, all around the state. And so I'm familiar with working with town agencies and particularly the recreation department. I'm currently the athletic director at Norwood High School in Norwood, Mass. I've been there the last 11 years, so I'm familiar working with community groups and organizations, and I've really loved living in Wrentham the last 10 years and just want to start to participate more in the community.
That's great. Thank you so much, John. And point of order, I made a mistake. I think it's because we've been on this meeting for 3 hours, but I didn't let the board ask Sarah. I don't think I let the board members ask Sarah any questions that they might have for her. So Selectman Anderson, anything to add or ask?
No, I just would thank Sarah for her willingness to serve, and I think she'll do a good job, whether it's on this committee or some other.
Great, Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so Sarah, obviously, just listening to you, very upbeat, positive. Playing youth hockey at a college level is great. Appreciate it. What is pitch decks?
So pitching ideas for advertising campaigns and creative things.
I thought it was like pitching.
Extensive experience in developing presentations, providing them, and budgets, production, logistics, all of that stuff.
Perfect. I thought it was a game. You're like throwing quarters against the wall or something. Thank you.
No, I wish.
I'm not even gonna touch that. Thank you for that. Jonathan, we're gonna open it up to the and Jonathan, equally as impressive resume, athletic director, Norwood, very impressed by what I see here. Thank you for your willingness to put yourself out there for us in our community. I'm gonna start with Jim Anderson, Selectman Anderson. Anything to ask or add, Jonathan?
No, I like the fact that he's currently an athletic director. I think that could bode well for the recreation down the road.
Sure. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, and being an educator and athletic director, that's great. I think, and anybody that's willing to volunteer to the town is greatly appreciated.
Selectman Lamoth.
Love the fact that he has the AD, but even better that his kids are still young enough that he's have a long tenure with us. So
yeah.
Good.
Yep. Again, wonderful candidates all around. Like none of these candidates would be bad additions at all. They'd be incredible. So here's the tough part. We again, just to remind the board, we did have a letter of recommendation for Ray Palmer, who gave a recommendation for Steve. And there was also a recommendation for John. Doesn't mean we have to go with them. I'm just letting the board know what what was given to us. So we have 3 motions to make. I'm going to start at this time. Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Ray Palmer, one of the incumbents, to the Recreation Commission, a term effective July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, roll call vote. Selectman Anderson?
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Who'd like to make the second motion?
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Mr. Palmer a question before we move?
Go ahead.
Right, yes, sir.
Ray, I with Stephen's signs, I was just wondering, I mean, when you look at the application, it looked one-dimensional. And I mean, he may be doing a great job, and I'm sure he is doing a great job with rugby, but is he involved in many other things other than this uplifting event of rugby?
I would actually say yes. We have a lot of things that we discuss at all of our rec meetings, and much more than we discuss throughout each of the user groups. And Steve is very involved in all of them, and he's always a willing participant on Wrentham Day, on any of our open track and running events that we do. We have a turkey whacker event over at Rice Complex, which is very successful on Thanksgiving morning. And he pitches in on lots of different things. But his success has been creating from scratch and generating a well-renowned program in the rugby. But he does participate in just many, many other things. He just doesn't run them.
All right, thank you very much.
Do you want to make a motion, Selectman Lamoth? Selectman Anderson, Selectman Harrington, you guys want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion for Stephen Cygnus to be appointed to the Recreation Commission for a term effective July 1, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, do a roll call vote. Selectman Harrington.
Anderson, yes.
Sorry.
Harrington, yes.
Anderson, yes. Harrington, yes. Lamoth?
Yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. All right, last appointment.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jonathan Longley to the Recreation Committee for a term effective July 1, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you all for your willingness to serve. Go get sworn in. Sarah and Ashley, please be on other committees. We'd love to have you. We need your energy in other areas. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for putting yourself out there. At this time, we're going to go to tab 8, I believe, which is just the blanket reappointments now, Mike.
That
So-
is correct.
At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to reappoint members of boards, committees, and commissions with terms expiring June 30, 2025 as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectman Anderson.
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Great job. Okay, at this time, we're going to go to public comment. Okay, public comment section of the meeting for residents who want to participate in public comment will be allotted 2 minutes to speak and must state their name and address for the record. At the start of the comment, a timer will be sent via message from Amanda Vazzapolo. It should be visible on the top of the screen. An alarm will chime when the time is up. Just a reminder to the select board members, we are not allowed to engage in the public comment. We listen, and then we can take those comments, if there are any, and we will address them at future meetings. Does everyone understand?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Yes.
residents, please raise your hand and make a public comment. It looks like Alan Selling is the first one.
Yeah, I just have a question about the reappointment of the incumbents on open space. There was some kind of, we'll call it clerical snafu, where we were all put on one-year terms. And we were all on 3-year terms that were staggered. As there are 9 members, it made it. And I'm wondering how we're going to handle that.
Thank you, Mr. Selling. As I said, we can't address that direct comment right now, but we'll take that under advisement, add it to the next agenda, and we'll answer your question in the next meeting.
Okay, I just let you know, I found a roster from 2019 that actually might help the process, and I'll send that to Amanda.
That'd be very helpful. Thank you so much, Mr. Selling.
Mr. Chair, I can just add that that was addressed in your appointments, in your blanket appointments, that we went to staggered terms.
Oh, yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yes, so that's been addressed, Alan, and we will communicate those.
Okay.
Okay, so did we communicate that, or we did not communicate that?
We will, now that they've been appointed. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Alan. We'll get that resolved and we'll send you this email that should straighten everything out. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Any other residents would like to say anything? Now's your chance. Sorry, I muted myself. Now's your chance. Give you another minute. Okay, at this time, we're going to enter into executive session. Oh, actually, oh, no, we're not. We're going to go to the town manager's report before we go to executive session. So we're going to go to tab 10, which is the town manager's report. The floor is yours, Mr. King.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of updates. A further note on the town common electrical upgrades that were mentioned in the announcements. Trenching commenced today on the project. The scope includes adding lights to all of the monuments, replacing handholds and GFI outlets, and upgrading the electrical panel. These upgrades will address electrical issues at the common that the town has experienced in the past related to the holiday lights display and other town common hosted events. An update on the Wrentham Community Electricity Program. The town hosted a hybrid informational meeting at the Fisk Public Library on June 11th for residents to learn more about the program, which was well attended. Consultants from Good Energy were on hand to answer all of the attendee questions. As a reminder, this is an opt-out program, and if someone wishes not to participate, their opt-out reply card must be postmarked by June 26 to ensure they are not included in the automatic enrollment. Another note that the brush dump located at 360 Taunton Street over at the DPW will be closed this Thursday, June 19th and Friday, June 20th for maintenance. Please note that brush stickers can continue to be purchased online. Lastly, Wrentham held its inaugural employee appreciation event last Thursday at the Rice Complex. It was well received by staff and a great opportunity to thank them all for their contributions to the Wrentham community, and we hope to make it an annual event moving forward. That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, that was a great event, and I just want to say that you did a great job, coordinating that. And I just want the board to know that Michelle and I were there, and we thanked all of the town employees on behalf of and Jim was there too. Jimmy likes a meal when he can get one. So we had a great time. It was a great day of fellowship, and we let the employees know just what they mean to us and the residents. So just want to let you guys, girls know. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a quick question for Mike King.
Yeah.
On the electric, those that are already on an alternative electric program, is that still an opt-out?
No, there's no automatic enrollment if you've already chosen a different third-party supplier. So you wouldn't have been included in the automatic enrollment program, although you can choose to opt in. But we just ask that you contact your third-party supplier in advance to just make sure you don't have any penalties in your current agreement.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
All right. Any other questions for the town manager before we enter into executive session?
Shoot, Mr. Chair, any update on Sweat Park? Any progress? Anything with the lighting?
Sure. So they've cored the railings over in the stairs. Those are coming along. Those are supposed to be installed this week. Moving along with the additional parts of the project. They're going to be pouring pavement in the back of Sweat Park to create some ADA accessible spots. That was part of the plan. So if you go to if you're at the stairs looking down to the back right, past the courts, there's an access point with some bollards. There's going to be 2 handicap accessible spaces there. So we're anticipating, originally they were supposed to be, I believe they were supposed to be poured today, but unfortunately the rain didn't cooperate with that. And then moving forward with the electrical, that's going to be going out to bid, although we have been able to incorporate some lighting into the current scope for the stairs. So those stairs will be lit once they are installed.
Nice. Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Does that conclude? Okay, at this time, going into executive session, per Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. If discussing the matter goes into open session, will have a detrimental effect on the town's litigating position. Town of Wrentham et al. Versus Commonwealth of Massachusetts et al. Norfolk Superior Court, civil number 2582 CV00259. So Chair would entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation of Town of Wrentham et al. Versus Commonwealth of Massachusetts et al. Norfolk Superior Court, civil number 258 CV00259, and enter back into open session for the purpose of adjournment only.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Harrington, seconded by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call vote. Anderson?
Yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Lamoth?
You're muted.
Yes, he said yes. Just say yes. Unmute yourself and say yes, please.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you. Gallo, yes. Motion carries 4-0. Everyone else have a great evening.